Bone remodeling is a really cool topic. It's a very similar idea to the mechanisms in cells we've seen before. So it's going to be kind of a short video, but a really cool and important thing, especially if you're interested in exercise for yourself or for others. So remodeling is the idea of, even in adulthood, bones can be changed in shape and size and strength depending on how they're used. So using something changes how its structure. So it's a really good example of structure function. In order for bones to function well, certain stresses need to be put on them, and those stresses change the actual structures of the bone. So what this kind of looks like here is this is long bone growth and remodeling. This would be showing in a youth, so a young person, but the same idea. I'll get to what that means for adulthood in a moment. So before remodeling, we've got that bone growth. This is long bone. So what type of growth? Endochondral ossification that makes the bone grow in length. So the epiphyseal plate allows growth to occur and makes the bone longer. Even after growth has occurred, remodeling can occur. So this is due to certain, whatever kind of stressors, whatever kind of strains are put on that bone. Not necessarily a bad thing, right? You want bones to, it's kind of just like strengthening, just like muscles. Bones can be refined in terms of where they are strongest. So this is kind of what it looked like before remodeling. This is the shape of the bone when just linear growth had occurred. After remodeling, the bone might look like this, with a larger head up here and a little bit more indented here. So what had happened here? Bone here had been resorbed. Bone here had been deposited. And bone here had also been deposited by appositional growth. So remodeling is a refinement of the bone size that uses both a little bit of endochondral ossification as well as appositional growth and intramembranous growth to reshape the bones with those osteoblasts and osteoclasts that are still active in adult, in this case youth, but also adult bone. So here's what it looks like in adults. So this is due to mechanical stresses. Bone growth occurs where stress occurs, where the stress is greatest. So the outside, you can have bone added. And then bones are hollow inside. Why? To make them lighter, actually. So you don't really need to have bone in the middle. The mechanical stress is dealt with by having a strong, compact outside of the bone. So about 5 to 10% of the skeleton, adult skeleton, is replaced every year. And when it's replaced in slightly subtly different ways, depending on the stressors that bone receives just through daily life. Force stimulates osteoblast activity. So here, if we have a compressive force on an individual, so someone who's even just standing, right? But someone who runs more often, does exercise, high impact exercise, that's going to result in this compressive force, mechanical stress, that will strengthen the bone. So over time, what this does is remove bone from the edges, like this edge, and add it to this edge, depending on where that force is. In this case, the force is larger on this side than this side. It's going to add bone to this side. It's going to depend on your specific anatomy and the activities you're doing. It's an adaptive response to the activities that you're doing and your body mechanics. So now, over time, we've got a bone here that's able to withstand the same force better than this bone was. And that's, in this case, due to this straight shape. Again, might depend on specific anatomy and activities. Another example of remodeling would be astronauts who do not have weight bearing occur, they're out there for a while in space, they actually lose bone density. So that's why they try to do some exercise even in space to increase that and maintain that bone density as much as they can. Weightlifting is going to result in thicker bones where muscles attach. And then aging is also going to decrease osteoblasts and increase osteoclast activity. So there's implications for that as well. So huge implications here for someone who's interested in different types of exercise, what they do to not just your muscles, but also your bones, right? Because your muscles attach to your bones. Hopefully you were able to, would be able to, if I had asked you, know that osteoclasts are what would be active here, osteoblasts are what are active here in order to remove bone from this side and add it to this side. Okay, what we just did is compare and contrast the function of osteoblasts and osteoclasts during bone growth, repair, and remodeling. So remodeling was kind of the focus of this one. This remodeling, just since I have repair here, can also occur in response to microfractures, so that 5 to 10% of the skeleton is replaced every year. That's not all just in response to differences in mechanical stress. There's microfractures that have to be repaired, as well as sometimes bigger repairs. We'll get to that in a later lecture. And also mineral regulation throughout that's needed in the body, which we'll also get to in a future lecture.